Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Welcome to Podcasting 101. Let's try that again.
Let's try that again.
It's a good thing I haven't wasted my
will-
wonderful punchline.
I know, right?
You ready?
Okay.
A Salesforce admin, a business analyst, and a developer walk into a bar.
Please tell me that the punchline isn't ouch.
Oh, that's so much better than my punchline. Can I change mine?
What's your punchline, Brian?
All right. A Salesforce admin, a business analyst, and a developer walk into a bar. The bartender looks up and says, "It must be Dreamforce again."
That's not funny.
Well, let's see you come up with a Dreamforce-related joke mere moments before we record.
No, it's all right. Can you do it?
I don't think this is actually working, but
That's the most
There we go.
awesome soundboard ever.
yeah, live audio, folks. Isn't it fun?
No.
And you can imagine that just blissfully fading into the darkness.
Blissfully. I like
Blissfully.
that. I like that.
So I'm Brian Kwong. I'm also known as the Salesforce Wizard, and I'm joined by...
Mark Ross. I'm the Salesforce Yoda.
Welcome to the Wizard News WizardCast. This is a podcast for all those who love Salesforce, but more importantly, it's a podcast where we sound stupid.
It's educational and entertainment. It's edutainment.
Mark, I'm really excited, not only because this is our 12th episode without Parker Harris, it's also, we're live at Dreamforce. It's Tuesday, September 15, and we're in the admin zone.
That's right, we're in the admin zone. Let's hear some cheering and excitement from the admin zone. Oh, come on. You've
That
been
was
here at
more
least 5
cheer.
hours.
I'm not sure about the excitement part.
Yeah, can we get one more with a little more Woo! Okay, it's about the same. That's all right. Let's move on.
I told you we should pay these listeners first.
Oh, I always forget to do that.
So anyways, this is the first of 2 one-hour live recordings we're doing at Dreamforce. We're doing it right now at 1:30 to 2:30, and then we're back again on Thursday at 10:30 in the morning.
Hopefully we have enough material. Brian, this script is looking a little light. What are we going to talk about for a whole hour?
Well, first off, the script's on the laptop, and I've been carrying this around all day, so it's not light. Besides, this is Dreamforce. What are we going to do? Start randomly asking people Fred segments? Besides,
We
it's
could do
live.
that. We could do that.
We actually could do that.
We could randomly
might do
ask
that.
people Fred segments. I can't believe I'm going along with the name Fred. You see what you've brought me to?
And no one understands what Fred is. So that's...
We got
one person knows what Fred is.
One person. Oh, God. Okay.
We could take some Yo Wiz questions and do those live.
Yeah, from our attentive listener audience. I said attentive listener audience.
People, what do we pay you for? That was your cue to say.
Remember, we're not paying them.
Okay. So I don't think anyone's really paying attention to us
No,
anyways.
no, we could hold the meeting.
Which meeting? We have lots of meetings today.
You know, the meeting.
Oh, that's right. It is time for the official meeting of the Flonatics at Dreamforce.
Alrighty then.
Now, before we go into that, Mark, what is a Flonatic?
Okay, a Flonatic is someone who loves to create flows, replaces triggers with flows at every opportunity, knows their flowcabulary, and enjoys flow punnery. And yes, there will be lots of flow punnery.
So, with that said, for all the Flonatics that are here live at Dreamforce, please rise to give the Flonatic pledge. Yes, this is mandatory. For the one person who I know knows what this is, I expect you to stand. Thank you. Raise your right hand or left hand or other appendages that you may have and say after me. My name.
I state
my
my
name.
name.
So thank you for doing that. Pledge to uphold the values and best practices of the Flonatics.
Pledge to vow. What? I can't talk.
Flow.
I solemnly swear upon the pain of
Practices.
Apex
I solemnly swear upon the pain of Apex
to share and spread the good word of the Flonatics.
to share and spread the good word of the Flonatics.
To all who will listen, and especially to those who do not.
To all who listen, and especially to those who do not.
I shall forever hold flow as my primary starting element.
I shall forever hold
my
flow.
primary starting element.
This is serious, people.
Except
Stop
when I'm
laughing.
using the process builder.
Sorry.
serious.
I shall forever hold flow as my primary starting element.
I shall forever hold flow. We already said that. As
Yes,
my
but you didn't
primary
repeat it.
starting element.
In my heart, mind, soul, and web browser.
In my heart, mind, soul, and web browser.
I shall never underestimate the power of the flow.
I shall never underestimate the power of the flow.
I shall forever remain flow-efficient.
I shall forever remain flow-efficient.
May the flow be with you.
May the flow be with you.
And also with you.
Thank you. All right.
I think, Brian, this does actually call for one other thing because this was requested. This was something that was voted on. This was something that was made necessary.
Yes, the Yoda ears.
There we go.
I'm glad to see some of that fine Yo-Wiz product.
Is that how do I look?
Yours can actually fit over these headphones. Mine have to fit over the headphones.
I don't. Yeah, I
See? Oh, that works fine.
I don't think it's working.
You find every excuse to not wear those stupid ears.
Yeah, pretty much. Wouldn't you? Oh no, wait. No, clearly not.
Yes, that's right. So, to start off, we actually have two special guests with us.
Two.
Two. Yes, Mark, two. Why are you repeating everything I say?
Because it's emphasis.
Oh.
Brian, I'm putting emphasis. It's that important. It's that awesome.
So, first, we're joined by Bill Takis,
Bill
who
Takis.
is...
I am the product manager for Visual Workflow.
Woo! And we also have Shelly Ursig, who is...
the product manager for the process builder.
Woo!
And these two are actually Flonatics because he does flow. Process Builder uses flow.
True.
That's called a deep insight. You're supposed to go, ooh.
Ooh.
We're definitely not paying our audience members enough. I'll triple your salary of 0. Okay. No
Done.
one finds me funny anymore.
Done. No.
So now we cannot do the session. We cannot do the session without everyone wearing some headphones. So, Shelly, Bill, we bring on you part of our Yo-Wiz components, Yoda ears,
They've been washed. It's okay.
Thank you.
kind of washed.
I really need a picture for my children. I really need a picture for my children.
Oh my God! Somebody please get a picture. Somebody please get a picture and tweet it.
Not only will we get a picture of this, Bill, but I do have a video camera going.
Excellent.
So
Well, that's true. We have a video
this
camera.
will show up on YouTube sometime and shame us all.
Excellent.
This will appear after our society has crumbled and some remnant millions of years from now discovers the archival footage. They will find this tape of us wearing these ears.
I like it without the headphones.
And they will think, wow, they were dumb.
Well, we are dumb.
Well, yes.
So we're
They'd
just
be right.
proving archaeological.
Yes. All right, so let's talk about flow. Let's talk about process builder. Let's talk about
I can't hear a thing now.
you.
Sorry.
With those big ears, how can you not
How could
hear
you not
something?
hear?
I can't hear a thing. Oh.
Yeah, you got to eat the mic.
And
you got to
wear
eat
the
that
headphones.
mic and eat the headphones. No,
No, wear
the
the
headphones.
headphones,
Eat the mic. Sorry, yes, I got to get that straight. Sorry.
I'm confused.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, we're all confused.
So, how about we start by talking to Bill, since Bill is the product manager for Flow. And Bill, why do you think people are actually considering themselves Flonatics? Why are we fanatics?
Why do people love flow so much?
Because it makes it easy to do your job.
Well, there's that.
All right. Now, I'm going to bet
It's
Shelly will have
automation.
something to say with that
It's
because I hear lots of
automation.
people say, Flow is too difficult for me to use.
Well, this is one of the reasons for process builders here.
Right?
Right? It's
That
the
is correct.
In good Salesforce style, we listen to our customers. We actually do listen to feedback, and we do respond. And so Process Builder arrived.
And
Process
so,
Builder is built on Flow and on top of the Flow engine, and it's meant to be simpler, more straightforward, and more transparent to use. so
Even
that
more
people
declarative.
can use it. More declarative,
Even
exactly. More
declarative-er.
goodness.
It's declarative-er.
Declarative.
I like that word.
so if Flow is kind of like my Lego blocks, does that make Process Builder Duplos?
Wow.
Wow.
I wouldn't go that far.
Them's fighting words.
that-
I
is that
wouldn't
a
go
bad
that-
metaphor?
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, wow, Brian. I didn't know. Okay.
Well, you said simpler. You know,
No, I
Easier
think
to
flow is like
use.
Technic. Flow is like Technic.
Yes.
There you go.
And
Yes.
Process Builder is like
Legos.
Lego City.
Yeah.
Good analogy.
Not
not-
not
I
the
think that
juniors
works.
either.
I
I'm
think
not
that
familiar
works.
with Technic at all.
You're not familiar.
Do I
Technic's
look like a
awesome.
technical person?
Not at the moment.
No, definitely not at the moment.
You like Technics?
I'm sweating.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Oh my.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm wearing a robe.
Yeah.
And
We're wearing
ears.
robes,
That's
hats,
what you're Flonatics.
hoods.
Yes, we are dedicated to the cause.
That and it's hiding our shame. Our horrible, horrible shame. So, Bill, I know there's a lot of things coming out with Winter 16 for Flow.
Yeah,
And I'm going to say that despite the fact that I have not read the Winter 16 release notes because I have faith.
What kind of an admin are you?
Well, I've been a busy admin.
Oh,
We
okay.
just had a baby, remember?
Oh.
And you can only read so much between the bloodshot eyes at 2 o'clock in the morning as you're shushing a baby. But my question is to Bill, because I have faith. I know Bill. Bill probably put awesomeness in Winter 16.
One word, bulkification.
Bulkification.
So does that mean that Flow has taken steroids and is all bulked up?
It means we can handle even more data in one transaction if you build your flow correctly. But more importantly, Process Builder can consume this.
So
Data.
this means that
Data importing.
right. So when
Processing on
data
it.
gets handed off in a mass fashion, like from data loading, then Process Builder will actually be able to handle that.
Yes.
Without well, what was it doing before?
Well, so it really wasn't optimized to handle massive amounts of records, right? So
Right.
that was our next phase. So what we did is we essentially raised the ceiling on the number of records that you can process with Process Builder. So you shouldn't experience hitting those limits quite as often. Now, it gets a little tricky to tell you exactly when and how, because that all depends on what your process or your flow does.
Right. And how much data is pushing
And
through.
how
'cause
much data it's pushing through, and what kind of data, and what you're trying to do to that data.
So what is the actual limit then?
I think it's 20,000.
Apex
Sockle
limit.
carries?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the limits
The
still
limits stay the
limits
same.
still apply.
What we did is we've optimized the
Oh.
way that we run queries behind the scenes, so that hopefully you don't have to think about this as much as you have been thinking about it, and you don't have to think about it at all. And it just raises the ceiling, and you can just get your mass use cases.
It'll just
done.
work.
and
I'm
then it'll
flattered.
just work.
She
and then
thinks we think.
Obviously, in
Ooh.
Flow, you can do something about that. You can kind of
You can-
bulkify your queries. You can do a lot of manipulation. I'll hand off to Bill to talk about that. But for Process Builder, the goal is you shouldn't have to think about it.
So let's talk
Push
about
go.
that 20,000 SQL, right? Is that
Sokol.
Sockwell?
Sokol.
Sequel?
Sokol.
Sokol.
Sockwell?
Sockwell?
With an O?
What's the official? Is there official?
I have no idea.
Okay.
We'll find Shauna.
Well,
We'll find
Sokol
Shauna.
would
Would you
and
let
ask
me
Shauna.
ask my question?
No.
please? All right. So 20,000. What does that actually mean? Does that mean if I'm go do a record lookup? That's one. Go do a fast lookup and grab like 20 accounts. Does that count as one or 20?
It really depends on what's happening in the element itself. It depends on what your query looks like. So if you go do a lookup, what are you querying on? Are you querying on multiple pieces of data? What type of variables you're using? It's not sort of a one-for-one question that you can answer. You know, it really depends on sort of what you're trying to do.
It depends also on how you're traversing relationships, right? So are you querying the record and then the children, and then are you querying for something? You know, each relationship, it's different depending on what path you take. That will impact how your query is counted.
Okay,
right?
so
So we kind of have to think of it like formulas. Because
That's a
formulas
good
have that
analogy.
5,000
That's a good
character.
analogy.
That's probably
yeah.
a good analogy.
And
Yeah.
because you can't always tell what's going on in your formula. Your formula could be like really short.
Yes.
But because it's calling 3 fields that have ridiculously long formulas in them, and they're calling other fields that have other formulas, your formula is then going to hit its limit.
That's
so
a
it's
great
kind of like that.
analogy. Yeah.
So you could have a really simple process, but if it's calling a whole bunch of stuff, or maybe you have like if the process is only doing one thing, but it's filtering based on 20 filters, and then you're processing like 20,000 records on top of that, you're probably going to hit a limit.
all right. Well, let's use the formula example, because if you hit that character limit of formulas, you can't say the formula. It goes, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So is there something in Process Builder and Flow that when you might hit that limit, there's some sort of warning to say, depending on
That would
who
be hard
actually
to
triggers,
do.
you're at X many, or just based on the elements that you have in your flow or your process, you're at X many queries.
We don't. And
I'm not
it's
sure that'd be
It's
possible.
difficult. It's difficult, if not impossible, to do in the front end, at least right
Like
now, because
design
we're
time.
not at design time, because it's really a runtime issue, right? But what we are doing, and this is something that is being worked on more broadly across the platform, is working on how Salesforce limits are Apex limits are imposed, and getting a little more clever about that, and working on throttling and things like that would be able to then potentially implement those limits a little smarter and potentially give some runtime information, or maybe maybe your process might wait and finish later, things like that.
So I'm going to say safe harbor here.
Very, very
Yeah,
safe
safe harbor.
This
Safe
is
harbor.
like very.
Just in-
This is
in
again.
terms-
This is a cross sort of platform effort, and it's
I
we don't
think-
even have a targeted release on this yet. But people are thinking very hard about this.
Yeah, and sort of more to Shelley's point. So we've done everything we can on the engine side to optimize the queries that happen that you're going to generate by building a flow or a process. Really isn't much more we can do to sort of help the limit issue. That's now started the conversation around how do we deal with limits across the platform. Shelley and I are pretty unified or united in terms of it should handle it intelligently, and what we mean by that is that it either throttles you or it gives you some type of messaging saying, hey, if you run this against your current data, it's not going to work, or you're going to hit a limit.
So what happens if the limit is hit? Because right now it just goes and it undoes everything you were trying to do and doesn't really tell you what happened.
Right, and remember that when you execute a flow, you're actually going to a transaction will happen. So
Right.
if you hit a screen or a wait node or the flow finishes, your transaction will commit. If you've hit a limit in between there, nothing will happen. The transaction will not be committed, and you'll get an error that says
It'll show up in your mailbox.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll say you've exceeded your limit.
So if I'm doing a data load.
And in Winter 16, we've improved our debug email. So you now see every element as it's evaluated at runtime.
And that's live
that
for
will-
everybody at Winter 16,
At
or is that
Winter
a beta?
16. Winter 16.
It's
It's still
live.
in beta, but it's live for everyone.
Oh, it's live for. Okay.
It's an open
It's like a
beta.
Google beta.
And I can
It
say
is like a Google beta.
Yeah.
I'm glad you improved it. I actually love that email that I got now because I have a former company that I used to work for who just froze my user, and I still get emails. And I had created a flow.
Yeah, because they didn't deactivate your user; they just froze
Froze
it,
it.
and you still get all the emails.
I still get all the emails.
Oh my god,
I was the
hate
last
that.
person to touch the flow, and they changed something that broke the flow process. And I was able to figure out what it was just by looking at that debug email. It was very clear to say, oh, this user is trying to run it, and they don't have access to the field origin on the case. And I did that without even looking at the flow, without
that
even
awesome?
working at the company. I could figure out what was wrong.
That's great. That's great.
There
That's
you
what
go.
we want to hear. So, and we want to continue to improve that debug experience.
All right.
Awesome. So what else is coming in Winter 16?
Pick lists. You
Pick
can-
lists.
Wait, don't we
Actually-
have
Oh my
pick
God.
lists?
You do,
No,
but you
no.
now, from within inside of Flow, you can actually query a pick list and create a dynamic choice element out of it.
So I can actually, people heard that and like that. So
Oh, yeah.
we can actually create a dynamic choice in our screen and have a drop down
That's correct.
That automatically
that mirrors
sources the pick
an
list.
existing pick list.
An
Yes.
existing pick list, there are some caveats.
Oh, of course
So-
there are caveats.
Well,
Bill.
pick lists are special.
Everything is special.
So we've got the first version of this effort out, and we'll continue to iterate on it.
So what are the caveats? I know there's no
Dependent
dependent.
pick lists are the
Yeah,
big
okay.
ones. There's also context once you actually bring in
The
a pick list.
Universal pick lists as well.
Universal pick lists
They're-
as well.
They don't work.
They, not to my knowledge.
No.
Multi-select pick lists?
Yeah, they should work. Yeah.
If you absolutely have to have a multi-select pick list.
Well, I always create a multi-select pick list in honor of Steve Moe.
You're supposed to delete multi-select pick lists in honor of Steve Moe.
I am. I'm sorry, Steve. It'll never happen again.
That's right. Remember, every time you create a multi-select pick list, a baby seal is clubbed to death. Don't forget that. That's important to remember.
And we're running out of seals, people. We're running out of seals. How about you, Shelley, from a process builder standpoint? Winter 16.
What else we
out of
got?
Sandbox? What's coming?
I mean, bulk vacation was huge.
Wow me.
That is the huge thing, is the optimization of bulk use cases. But what also is very, very exciting is multiple schedules for scheduled actions. So now you can add more than one schedule.
So it's almost a parity with time-based workflows.
It is almost a parody with time-based
not
workflows.
parody ODY. Parody ITY.
Parody
Exactly.
essay.
Parity.
I'm here for comedic verbal relief because I can't talk.
You got so many jokes in your bag.
I have bag.
Bag.
I have, so with how many schedules can you have? Is there a limit?
No,
No. So I could have 100 schedules
Well,
on one process?
you don't really want to.
Why would you want to have 100
So
schedules?
we may have thrown some arbitrary limit on there just to keep you from doing something that would hurt yourself.
Because admins will figure out a way.
But there's no
right?
real reason to have a limit other than good sense. So we didn't. If there's no real reason to have a limit, we don't put a limit on there. We just throw a big ceiling on there so that you don't, sort of
Glorious.
make something that's so messy you can't tell what it's doing.
Finally, I can send an email every hour on the hour for infinity.
You could.
You could,
Ish.
yeah, you could write a flow that did
You
that.
can.
Your users will
Exactly.
hate you, but yeah, you can.
No, those go to customers.
Yeah.
You're 1 day late in your payment. You're 2 days late in your
Yeah.
payment. You're 3 days late in your payment.
Wow.
And after 3
You're
days,
evil.
you go to hourly.
Ooh.
There you go.
I
There
like
you go.
that.
Nice.
You're evil. That's surprising.
Collections.
All right, so we have
One more thing,
yes.
which we're working on the user experience continually, and we know that it was not super intuitive to update the record that you were on. So we've made that a
Uh-huh.
lot clearer. We've made a new interface for that.
Oh, yes.
So now it is very apparent how to update the record that you're on and how to traverse to related records
So
to
does this
do
mean
field updates
if
on
I'm
them
doing a
as well.
field update on the record that is actually calling the process, I don't have to go click backwards on the name of the object to get to the field?
That is correct, sir. Yes.
That would be a
That
big
is
one.
going to. I swear I've answered that question almost every week.
It's a sad.
For the last
that
couple
question
months.
made us very sad. It's an iterative process.
Yeah.
We're continually polishing this thing and trying to
Well,
make it.
what's intuitive for one
more
person
shiny
isn't
and-
necessarily intuitive for the rest of the world.
I'll tell you what happened there. We got so excited about giving you guys the ability to traverse across record relationships more so than what you can do in workflow rules that we just focused on that and we're like, oh yeah, updating the record, that's just boring. Sort of not really attending to the fact that that's like what people do. The
Key
most.
essential every day.
Exactly.
So who wants to do that?
It happens. We get excited about these things.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so that's what's happening in Winter 16. So,
Oh, I've got one more.
Ooh.
We actually built an API
Oh yeah.
Oh my
for
God! Yes,
our
yes, yes.
screens. So you can now programmatically, if you have programmatic resources in your org, actually build really awesome, rich interactive screens.
Without Visual Force?
Without, well,
Well,
can
no,
use
you
Visual
still
Force
need
and
Visual Force.
Apex. So just to show the folks here.
So,
So
Bill's holding up a laptop
know
for
you're
those
on the
people
radio?
who are
Yeah, that-
listening. And what we're looking at is a page that looks like a flow form
it's got
that suddenly
two-
has 2 columns.
yeah,
and
turn
notice I didn't-
around.
Notice I did not hit the next button.
Two-column flow.
For live
Two-column
audience
flow.
listeners, please come up and view the laptop.
I'd be happy to show you this.
Yes.
Or you can come to our sessions tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in room 2006, and we'll
Oh.
teach you how to do this
Oh.
and give you sample code.
I knew there was a plug.
So absolutely. And
Not
this
only
is,
was there a plug, he plugged his session over our session, which is at the exact same time, Brian.
Oh, sorry.
You bastard.
It'll be recorded, both of them.
That's true, both of them.
Will there
ju-
be t-shirts?
There will be T-shirts. There will be T-shirts.
Do we have T-shirts, Mark?
I don't know. Do we have T-shirts, Shelley?
We got
do.
to.
Bill was supposed to give you your T-shirts.
No,
If
I mean
not,
for
have
No,
audience
no,
members.
for the audience.
Oh,
we have
We're-
some.
we're
we do have
bribing
t-
our
Oh
audience.
yeah, we have T-shirts.
We have
oh yeah.
What
There
do
are
we do?
T-shirts.
You know what our T-shirts say? Process Builder is my Swiss Army knife, and it's got a robot on it.
How does
It's cool.
this? How did
It's
the
very cool.
How did the Swiss feel about that?
I don't know, but several people have told me that Process Builder is now their Swiss Army knife. So
There you go.
we thought we'd make a
Oh,
shirt.
I love process.
So
building.
to clarify, because I was truly excited to see this, but I also, when I was reading, I was like, okay, reality check. I have an idea of what this is now and what it means in the future. So what this is it's dynamically loading screens, right? So you can, within a flow, you can, let's say, check a checkbox, and it will, without clicking next, update another portion of the page, but it can only be done currently through Visual Force.
Well, Visual Force and Apex.
And Apex.
Or pick your flavor of development language.
Right. So
This
it's
is an API.
API based right now.
It's API.
And this is
Yes,
safe harbor.
No, you're setting. You're
Paving
setting
the
up.
way.
So look, we're API first, right? So we really
API
are
first.
adhering that to the platform. This is in preparation for building what we call dynamic page control in Flow. And so what that means is that, sort of to your point, we have broken down dynamic into 3 buckets. So dynamic fields, pick a pick list, fields appear or disappear based on the pick list value. Dynamic data,
People are
So-
applauding in the audience. This is great.
pick a pick list value, and data actually gets populated into fields on the screen.
Oh.
And dynamic requiredness, which is pick a pick list value, and based on that value, fields actually become required on the UI. So
Did you ever know that you're my hero?
So it's going to take us a while to actually manifest that, but upcoming, probably in a release before that, we're going to get a Lightning component for Lightning App Builder for Flow and for Record Home. So you'll actually be able to embed that, and Lightning runtime for our screens.
Ooh, nice.
So Bill kind of jumped the issue of what's coming after Winter 16. Shelley, would you like to one-up him?
I would actually. No, but it's hard to one up that. That's fantastic progress. So what we are working on in the future, to be determined when the release is, but right now we're working on the ability to kick off a process or a flow without having something change, without having a record change in the database.
What?
It's something that we're calling event-driven processes. So your event that's important to your business could potentially kick off a process, and it lays the groundwork for, well, I'll give you an example. You might have a proprietary database, for example, that something changes in, and you want to hand us some data from that database and have that event through the API kick off a process, but you'll be able to configure 90% of that declaratively, fire off a process based on something that's happening in your business, and it lays the groundwork for doing things like kicking off based on other types of events like approval events or scheduling a
Deleting
a
a
cron
record?
job. Deleting
Oh,
a
like
record
a
is a
cron
separate
job.
thing. I'll talk about that later. Separate thing.
Such a tease.
Well, we could trigger on delete. It just depends on which layer it was deleted.
Wait,
but
what?
Somewhat.
Wait, what about triggering on delete?
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Oh,
get
God,
there.
I need trigger on delete so
We'll
badly.
get there. We'll get there.
I need it so
Yep.
badly.
How about doing things where you can replace a lot of the trigger functionalities? Because right now everything that happens for those developers in the before interaction. What if you need something to happen after the interaction has occurred?
After the well, okay. This is a complicated thing. So this is safe harbor.
Safe,
Double
safe.
safe harbor.
Double
triple
safe harbor. Ooh.
There is work going on across the platform to allow more control over what happens when, and the ordering of triggers and the ordering of the mix of triggers and workflows and processes. And we will be participating in that.
I'm a little scared
Bill,
now,
do you
Mark.
want to say more?
I don't know what to think.
No, I mean, we're looking at basically giving admins, our customers, more control what happens during either a trigger or a transaction, and being able to order those things. There'll probably be some stuff that has to happen but sort of after that, you're going to be able to kind of specify the order. We also want to do it sort of in the context of, hey, I have this particular series of actions and events that I want to have happen, and for this particular set of actions and events, I want to have the order be this. So just a lot more, and we want to do it make that all declarative.
You know, I'm a little scared here. That's a lot of safe harbor. I'm kind of expecting the black helicopters to show up and steal this podcast episode from us.
Super duper
No.
double safe harbor.
And erase your memory. It's a lot of power.
Erase what from memory?
Exactly. Exactly. Now you're with the program.
What
Well
were we
done.
talking about?
Well done.
Now we know we can tell
I
Brian
will
anything
comply.
on his podcast.
So, okay, you and I have talked about this, Bill, but I think it, something just in general for the podcast, again, safe harbor, lookups and flow screens. Okay, so actually let me ask.
You're interested in a lookup field type.
A lookup field, yes, with the question, with the magnifying. Who would be
Right.
interested in having
sure
magnifying
everybody
glass lookups in field screens or flow screens?
Oh, sure.
And because this is an audio, everyone's raising their hands.
yeah. Yeah. And I happen to be here, and I see
So maybe
them.
not as many as I think. Maybe it's just me.
So we hear this
No.
all the time. So that we don't have anything near-term roadmap with regard to that particular piece of functionality. It can be recreated today, but you have to do. It's not a happy place to be, right?
No.
You have to put some values in and hit next. The first thing that will come is the dynamic screen page control that I talked about. So that will sort of be a first pass in terms of being able to instantiate that. We will, as we make the move to Lightning and Rev, our screen building tool, as Flow is today, we'll investigate actually adding that screen field.
All right,
So rather,
But like short term, next couple of releases, not going to see it. But
right.
there's a longer term story here about, Process Builder is our start of iterating around all of our automation tools with our builders. So we will be actively looking at where it makes sense to put screen building and connect logic. Lightning app builders there. You're going to see Record Home being able to be edited with a page editing tool. So we're looking at that in a much more holistic context of just a bunch of disparate, builders, if you will.
So rather, I'm thinking of this again, reapproaching this based on what you're telling me, rather than having a magnifying glass that you click and search, because you're talking about parts of the page that load based on what's done or what's typed.
Right.
Maybe it's more like that, like
but just
enter your account name, and as you type it, it starts pulling up possibilities.
Or you tab out of that field and it gives you a pop-up it gives you a list of below it gives you a list of options. That's a key concept.
Well, let's talk Lightning.
Still not happy in terms of sort of that magnifying glass, but as we're
iterating, I'll take a good solid alternative.
And as we're iterating and making the move to Lightning, we're evaluating how all of these things will manifest, like in the flow context.
Well, let's talk about Lightning, because I know Shelly doesn't have to worry about this with Process Builder, but with us Flownatics, we kind of have gotten addicted to that button to launch a flow. And using URL hacks to be able to pass things into a flow. So with Lightning Experience, that's kind of gone. So what happens?
We're still working through exactly how that will manifest itself. But likely right now, when you add, for example, a flow to Record Home, let's say, this is sort of in the future with Lightning, the flow will probably start to execute. So there won't be a button to hit. In terms of the URL hacks and how we do all the URL routing, we're still working through that. I don't have a good answer for that.
Breaks my heart.
It's not that it's not going to happen.
Be clear.
It's up in the air.
It's a complex problem, and not sort of one that we have an immediate sort of like, we know exactly what the answer is.
Oh, I get it. I completely understand it. It's just kind of frustrating because especially at Dreamforce, you're going to hear lightning a lot, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of people who are going, well, this is fantastic. This is how I'm using the app today. And, they are so excited from the excitement here at Dreamforce that they want to jump in and use a Lightning Experience, but not everything's available yet. And that's
the thing.
What's not available.
It's not like Flow is being singled out either.
No.
Clearly they're what they're trying to do with Lightning Experience is they're trying to get it out there. So it's just, okay, here's what it looks like in general, kind of get people's heads wrapped around it. We're going to apply it to accounts, context, opportunities, reports, and slowly kind of build out the rest.
It's also an opportunity for us to take a look at what we've done and sort of what we can do and, make something that might even be easier to use and better, more in that context.
So we're going to switch tracks a little bit and do something I have not talked to Mark about ahead of time.
Oh, great. Okay, fine. Surprise for everyone.
Normally on the WizardCast, we do a segment called Yo, Wiz, where we have listeners ask the podcast questions. Well, we have two special guests here. So if there's anyone out there who would like to ask a question, either to us or to Shelly and Bill, please raise your voice. If you would like to actually have your audio come up here and you just talk into the microphone, and we'll love to take your question.
No. If you're going to ask a question, you have to come up and talk into the microphone.
Yeah,
that's a requirement.
It's an audio. Chris, I see you, Chris.
Yep. Get off your butt.
So upcoming upstage right now is Chris Bear. Is it pronounced that?
When are we going to be able to rearrange elements and process?
Can you get closer to the mic?
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, when are we going to be able to rearrange elements in Process Builder? Because I'll put something in the wrong order, and it's like, I have to recreate the whole thing.
Shelly.
We're literally building that right now. So you're going to be able to drag and drop the criteria. We're starting off with criteria. We'll get to actions, but we're going to start off with letting you just rearrange the criteria. We know that it's just so painful, and so we try to do a mix of working on delivering more functionality and then, more sort of like what we kind of call user experience or builder efficiency, so that you can efficiently build these more quickly and not pull your hair out when you have to try to rearrange your criteria. Yeah. Thanks. Great question.
Pull your ears off.
She said, literally, does that mean she's actually building it somehow during the recording session?
The
she's
people
doing
who are building
with her
it
mind.
left Dreamforce to go back to their desks to finish.
Seriously?
Work on
People.
it. Literally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
That's dedication.
Thank you, Chris, for that question. Anyone else would like to ask a question to Bill or
These are the
Shelley?
people in charge of Flow and Process Builder. You have the opportunity right now to ask them any question.
And we won't edit it at all, and they have to answer. It's a rule. It's a law.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe. Anyone?
Anyone?
I do have a follow-up on the URL button question.
Okay.
On the
Okay.
URL buttons.
Oh.
Because I got a little inside track right before I left for Dreamforce. That is on the top of the ticket. So there,
roadmap
we know that.
top.
Yeah, we're going to be working on that very, very soon. Like as in, in the next few weeks. Not
Well, and
delivering it in
that's-
the next few weeks, but working on that in the next few weeks.
And that's
because
Process
it's really
Builder,
important.
though.
We know. No. Just
No,
I'm
no,
talking
this
about
is-
the URL
this
button
is-
that you.
The general
this is-
platform.
This is
General
platform.
This is platform. This is a
Yeah,
URL
it's a
button. That's an
problem
action,
larger
right?
than
And you
our
need to
product.
launch your action from the button, and we know that's widely used, and it's top of someone's list.
Okay, so that's coming after his thing, though.
That's coming.
That's coming after Chris's request, since that's
Well,
literally being
No,
worked
this
on.
is not
right
even
now.
our team. So
Yeah,
so.
that's kind of
So
why I was.
I've been in
Oh.
sync with the
Doing
actions
that.
team recently.
The actions team. Okay,
Yes,
that makes
and
sense.
so it's with the actions team, and I've gotten a little bit of insight into what they're working on.
So do you hear that, everybody? Flow is now going to be launched in Lightning from Actions. Actions are going to, and I believe they're going to manifest in a button-like sort of style.
Potentially.
But they'll
You
just be
kinda-
called Actions.
You got, like,
They'll be under the Actions pennant.
Well, when
Get
you in Process Builder, when you launch a flow, you're actually using a flow action.
That's a flow
Yeah.
invocable action.
It's an invocable action.
And invocable
versus
actions ultimately will be able to be used
any-
anywhere.
anywhere.
Ultimately,
Is there
that's
a fancy
That's our plan.
cantrip to invoke those actions?
Is there fancy what?
Well, as a wizard,
A
you know.
spell.
Oh.
Well, you can certainly say one before you press a button.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It'll probably work more often.
I'm looking for your wand. I mean, don't you have?
I have
Whoa.
a lightsaber in the bag.
Ooh, that sounds dangerous.
Only if you're Mark Ross. Yeah, there's Mark's. He's got a blue lightsaber.
There we go.
Very
I come
nice.
packing. His
mine-
glows.
Mine is better because it
Well,
glows
you gotta
and
get
it
that.
makes noise.
You got to get that sound effect closer to the mic.
Yeah, I don't know if we-
Close.
I don't. I think
don't-
is that the speaker down here? That's the speaker. There we go.
And now we'll be muted by George Lucas. All right,
Never mind the copyright infringement here. We're fine.
there is no copyright
I
infringement.
can't. I always have trouble with my.
Put it
it doesn't
back
want.
in.
It doesn't want to go back in.
Get
It
it
never
back
wants to
in
go
there.
back in. There we go.
Man,
Gotta force it. Sorry.
J.J. Abrams.
this is a
not looking for
G-rated
you.
show, Mark.
What? Do you, what? What?
You heard me. You were just
What?
doing innuendos left and right.
What?
It's a G-rated show.
Are we on the same show?
I think
The
so.
show I'm on has Fred.
Fred is perfectly innocent.
Fred is an adult.
Should we do a Fred?
Oh God.
We should do a Fred.
If we're gonna do a Fred, it has to be Chris.
Chris, you want to do a Fred? So for those of you who are not familiar with Fred,
Well, no. Let's just let it explain itself. 'Cause we'll get up here and we'll ask him the question.
yeah, but we're doing the introduction to the segment like we always do
Okay.
an
All right.
introduction
All
to
right.
the segment.
All right. Go on.
So, Fred is formerly known as the segment which shall not be named because no one could come up with a good name for this segment.
And no one wanted to name this segment.
We asked for names and no one gave us names. Anyways, we have chosen a question that we go out and ask the audience. And we ask the same question. And right now, we are hoping for honest answers to the question on.
Chris, what was your first time like
With
Salesforce? With Salesforce.
So my first time with Salesforce, I used to be a Linux admin, doing
Okay.
mostly stuff with AWS.
A lot of manual work.
AWS, anyway,
Yeah.
Amazon Web Services.
Okay.
And one day my boss said, "Hey, you're now a Salesforce admin."
It
So-
was immediate.
And so
You had no warning.
I had no warning. I just had to jump in
And kind of
learn
forced
it.
into it.
There was no
Yeah.
warm-up.
I got certifications now. I'm certifiable.
We're all certifiable.
I know, right?
We're all very certifiable.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of doing.
Well, yeah, I didn't know hardly anything at first, and it was
Sure.
just sitting down and watching the help and training videos. And
You watched videos.
well, they didn't have Trailhead.
They
back
can be
then.
very informative. I've learned a lot by watching videos.
Yeah.
I suppose you can watch. I'd rather be more hands-on.
Well, I mean, different learning styles, right?
I suppose.
I mean, how much of it was video and how much of it was hands-on?
Most of it was hands-on, but
No,
you
no.
know, I learned a lot from the videos because once again, they didn't have Trailhead yet. So
No.
it's more betterer now.
More better.
More better? More better.
More
So
better.
we're sorry that it was kind of rough and just forced on you, but you did kind of learn. You dedicated yourself to it,
Yeah.
and you
Well, he's Dreamforce. He's obviously loves what he does now.
he loves it now.
He loves it.
Can't get enough of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is
That's
terrible.
right. Twice on Sundays.
What are we doing? Yeah, he's a Flonatic.
I am a Flonatic.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank you,
brother
Chris.
Flonatic. Well, you know,
If you didn't get that, we can't help you. Sorry.
I can't help but feel that we have missed an opportunity here, Mark.
What opportunity is that?
We have two great guests here, and I don't know about you, but I don't know what Shelley's answer would have been. So, Shelley,
They're Salesforce employees. I don't know if we can do this, Brian.
when did you start working with Salesforce? What question do you think I was going to ask her?
Nothing.
Okay. When did you start working at Salesforce, Shelley?
Just about 5 years ago.
5 years. And it took us this long to get Process Builder?
Oh,
I
jeez.
wasn't working on Process Builder.
You're a jerk.
I have levels of expectation.
There's a lot of stuff that's starting to appear, if
Yes.
you've noticed.
Right.
There is. And it
It's
seems
all
to be coming
been,
faster
It's all
and
been
faster.
cooking.
And
It's
if
all
you-
been cooking and
If you
brewing.
look at Process Builder and look at what we're talking about at the show, Process Builder was before all the stuff we're talking at this show.
It's true.
Just saying.
It was
It's
the
came out.
first.
I'm just saying it was a lot of stuff got done. It's a hardworking team.
It was prophetic.
It was a hardworking
Did you say
team.
pathetic?
Prophetic.
And I'll say that in the
Prophetic?
GA context too, just to be completely clear.
That's true.
PV was GA in spring.
So, Bill, I happen to know you started recently at Salesforce.
I actually started working with Salesforce in 2005
2005.
when I
Working
had
for Salesforce?
working for O'Reilly Media
Aha.
Oh, okay.
as a salesperson.
Oh,
As a
you're one of
Salesforcer?
those people.
I was one of those people.
Interesting.
It has changed quite a bit from the time I last looked at it till the time I joined.
So,
Sensibly.
oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Flow's had an interesting life. Like it didn't actually start. If I'm recalling my history correctly, it didn't actually start as a Salesforce project.
It's correct. It was an acquisition that Salesforce completed around in early 2010.
Yeah, I remember it used to have this app that you had to download
Oh, God.
on your desktop.
An executable, an
Yeah,
exe
it
file.
Somehow managed to integrate kind of somewhat with
What
Salesforce.
what you did is you created the flow in the application. You saved it as a .flow file, and then you went to Salesforce, and in the flow section there's an upload button. I think it's still there.
It's still there
Yep.
for
Yeah,
people
that's
who still
why
have a
it's there.
desktop app.
Yes.
It's
No
that
way,
legacy.
really?
Somebody asked about workflow
Yes.
rules.
Yes.
The upload button. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
Really?
It's still there.
still there.
Workflow rules will still
I
be
still
there.
have a ton of flow files on my Dropbox.
I remember.
That'd be great to actually see some of those. Actually,
was in
I
the-
have the client, and it
Oh, you
still
do?
works.
I remember when I first saw
So I'd
Flow.
love to try.
I
Does it
had
work
come
Windows
back
10?
from Dreamforce, and I'm like, everyone was talking about this. This should be cool. I opened up the application. I'm like, what the hell is this? No one's ever going to use this. This is a piece of crap. This sucks. And I immediately stopped trying to use it.
And now you're a Flonatic.
And
Now
now
look
I'm a
at you.
Flonatic.
That worked.
Transformed.
That worked well.
It-
I'll never use this.
I turns out that I'm a horrible prophet for what will be successful and what will work well.
It turns out Brian does not know what he's talking about. Yeah, I remember seeing
it's a
flow.
very different. If you look at that, tool and look at what's there now, it's very different in terms of
Oh,
just
yeah.
how you think about
It's evolved.
building a process. And however, that client did have a lot of cool stuff in it. It had
did.
debug in it.
It also had the ability to snap to grid.
It had all kinds. of
I'm looking at you,
Yes.
Bill.
Snap to grid,
Yes,
Bill.
it
Snap
did.
to grid.
We hear that a lot.
For those of you who don't know Flow looks like there should be a grid that, elements could snap to, and you can make these nice little pretty rectangular
Straight
images.
lines.
Straight lines. Instead, it's more like getting a ball of yarn that's been chased after by 5 cats, and the ball is only ballish shaped. but it's really just a tangle of lines and failure.
You
and
are
fault
so
lines.
unkind.
I just maybe you're just really horrible at organization.
Well, I will say this. I did a session with Bill. He
I'm
opened up one of my
joking.
flows, and
Joking.
the first thing he did was start to reorganize my elements so try to make it look nicer.
I can't help myself. That is
That
not
OCD.
orderly.
I remember seeing Flow at my very first Dreamforce. I wasn't even a Salesforce admin. I was in charge of a support department. They brought me here so I could learn how to use Salesforce. And this was when Stevie Wonder was the main act.
Oh, I remember Stevie Wonder.
And this was when Flow was the executable. The Cloud Flow Designer wasn't out yet.
It was written in Swing too.
Yeah.
It was a Swing.
And
flow
I can't even remember who the product manager was at that time.
It was Raja.
What was it?
Raja.
Robert. Yeah, that's it. That's right. Raja SFTC, I remember. So yeah, and I saw it and I was like, this is the future. Like immediately I knew. And then I went, I'm sorry, I did, Brian. I'm not making this up. And I went back to my company and they're like, okay, we need you to be an admin now. Okay. And I started looking, like talking and asking, and they're like, well, actually, Flow costs right now. Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, never mind. Because I knew my company wouldn't do it. 9 months later, after becoming an admin, oh, by the way, we have now made this free for everybody. And I just did a little dance and pumped my fist in the air because I was so happy.
We have a live audience and we're video recording this. So for the live audience and the video record, please redo your dance of joy.
Excellent.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more jeers from that, from the audience.
That was how do you say single applause?
Single applause. There's
Single
one
applause.
person there just clapping really quietly.
We had one single applause and then we had one pity applause.
Thank you.
That was
we
out of
take
pity. Thank
pity
you.
applause any day of the week. Often it's every day of the week.
Yeah.
We get a lot of pity
That's
applause.
assuming we get applauded.
Well, again, we should really pay our audience members.
We should do that. So from there, okay.
I'm confused for a moment. You're creating content, aren't you supposed to get paid by like eyeballs or ads? Or
Oh, we don't get paid for this.
What are you
kidding
talking
me?
about?
Have you listened to this podcast, Bill?
I
Who
have
would
actually.
pay for this?
I have actually. I'm sure you have a huge audience.
We should sell advertising time.
We should. It's almost a golden opportunity.
Sponsorships.
We could almost make a demo for a Salesforce like process or something based on that very scenario.
You know what would be great if we showed that demo tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Oh my God, Brian, we should totally do that.
Would you guys be willing to do that?
I think we
9 a.m.
could.
tomorrow?
9 a.m. tomorrow.
I
Where?
can make it happen.
You know
I
what?
can
We
make
don't
it
have
happen.
anything built right now. We're just going to go as soon as we're done here, we're going to go build it. And it's going to be ready. And it's going to be awesome.
Are we going to
Excellent.
test it first?
Psh, no.
God, who needs to test your work?
Seat of our pants, man. That's how we roll. We don't test. Sandboxes? Psh. We don't, stinking sandboxes.
That's right. Everything you do in production. That's
That's
how you
hardcore.
roll.
That's hardcore mode.
That's why Flow and Process Builder has versioning, so you could do it in production.
We do things on the hardest difficulties. That's what we do.
Try that again.
Yeah,
You're spending too much time with me, Mark.
we do things on the hardest difficulty settings.
The hardest difficulty settings.
That's right.
Yes. Forget normal. We go straight to hardcore.
We go straight to hardcore. Wow. Okay, that's a quote that's going to be taken out of context, I'm sure. We go straight to hardcore.
Good thing this is not being recorded.
All right, so we still have. Well,
We got 12 minutes. We got 12 minutes.
We got time.
So,
No more questions?
Any other questions? Yeah, from the audience. Please
Anyone?
spare the rest of the audience from having to hear us talk. No, nobody. They want to hear us talk.
we could volunteer people.
We could volunteer people.
For example, I know there's a gentleman out there who goes by Darth Gary.
There is.
And he's standing there, and he's now smiling, and he's being pointed at by other audience members. we could have.
It's
we
almost
could put
as if
him
they
in the
recognize
spotlight.
him.
We could ask him something. Should we ask him our the general Dreamforce questions?
So let's ask him the general Dreamforce question.
Yeah, Gary Palmatier, who is
Gary
from
Palmatier, everybody.
Red Argyle, who is sadly not sponsoring the podcast. Gary, why
You
aren't
ma-
you sponsoring the podcast?
Maybe because he's a Sith. He is
Why-
Darth Gary.
Yeah. Why
I'm
aren't you
sponsoring with my love.
Oh,
There we
okay.
go.
No,
I'll take
nicely
it.
done.
That's more than we get,
So
generally speaking.
this is kind
Nicely
of like
done.
Fred, but more of a series. So we're going to start
Thank
asking
you.
a series
Thank
of
you
questions.
for more serious questions than that, yes.
For example,
So what are you excited about for
At
Dreamforce?
Dreamforce.
What are you excited to see? What are you looking forward to?
That's a tough question because there is a lot
There is a lot.
I mean, I like seriously looking forward to or excited about personally, because there's a little bit of both. But
How are they not the same? Shouldn't those be the same?
Well, yeah, but some of them are, work.
Okay, so
Never mind,
work
never
and
mind,
personal. Work and personal. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
You got to
So
keep them
for-
separate.
All right, so I got a Lightning Experience preview org last week, and it, that little like mind blown animated GIF with all the like sparklies all around the guy. Oh,
Way to go. You
Oh.
knocked
I'm the
Shelly's
worst.
Yoda head off.
I'm excited about that. I've got my team here. They're like digging into the inner workings of that, and I think it's going to be a great piece of stuff for our
Okay.
customers.
Great piece of stuff. There's your quote right there.
Great
I
piece of
wasn't
stuff.
Put that on the
I don't
box.
have any
Marketing,
notes.
we have the guy for you.
Oh
We
yeah,
got it.
Great piece of stuff. Trademark.
All right. I know it's only 2:15 on the first day of Dreamforce, but other than our podcast, what is the best thing you've seen so far?
Wow.
I know I made it really difficult by excluding us.
Well, I mean, no, your podcast. Well, that's all that came to no.
That's all that came to mind. He's having a sad
So I went to the
Dreamforce.
partner keynote this morning, and
Ooh.
I'm really excited to see some of the investments that Salesforce has been making in their partner relationships.
That's good to hear.
Stuff and improving infrastructure, both for consulting partners and ISVs, which I do a little bit of both. So really looking forward to seeing what They have a really aggressive and exciting roadmap, which I think is going to help us out as a partner quite a bit.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
So we have one more question.
Oh boy.
If a woodchuck could use Salesforce, what app would it use?
Well, I mean, all that comes to mind is Trailhead, because I think I'm like out in the woods, and then the little woodchucks in the trail, like just doing.
There's a
their
lot of wood to
woodchuck
chuck
thing.
in Trailhead.
A woodchuck app?
Yeah.
If they were to break marketing convention, it would probably be like some variant of like Wood Force or Chuck Force or Furry Force. I don't know.
Furry
I,
force.
are you? Is this English? I'm
Mam-
not sure what you're talking
Ma-
about now.
maybe that'd be a Mammal Cloud.
The mammal cloud.
Cloud.
They're all plotting for me.
It's not the Edmund Theater audience. It's
Small mammal prey cloud.
Is that it? Am I free to go?
Yeah, okay, you're free to go.
yeah.
I'm shamed. No, thank you. Thanks for inviting me up.
No,
No,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
My hat is very limpy today.
Yeah, it's totally giving way to gravity at the moment.
I'm not quite sure why I can't keep it up. The hat.
I'm not
The
going to
hat.
touch that. I'm
The
not touching
hat.
that with a 10-foot lightsaber.
Well, yeah, probably, because if you keep touching it, probably just knocks right down again.
I want a 10-foot lightsaber.
You might
How
try
would you
some-
carry a 10-foot lightsaber around Dreamforce?
Well, it's light. It does. It's like, I'm not talking about the hilt, right? That would have to be normal size, but the beam itself is just light. It doesn't weigh
yeah,
anything.
but it's a beam. There's no way to actually stop it at some ambiguity
Well,
endpoint.
theoretically, in the Star Wars universe, in which the
Wait,
futuristic
Mark,
technology
Mark,
is. What?
This is our Salesforce podcast, not our Star Wars podcast.
We have a Star Wars podcast.
Don't
should,
we?
We should start a
We
Star
should
Wars.
start a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to the Star Wars cast.
Oh God.
No?
Yoda
You might be in
cast.
the wrong
The
venue.
Yocast?
Yeah, Yoda cast. Since you've got a cast, I can have a cast, and that's the Star Wars cast. That's
Yeah,
the
but
Yoda cast.
Yoda might be trademarked. Wizard is a general term.
Yocast.
Yocast. That sounds like a yogurt flavor.
It does.
Come to Yocast and you can get 22 flavors of yogurt.
Strawberry flavored Yocast.
Could be a rap music cast.
A rap
Yo.
music cast?
Yocast.
Yocast.
Oh, this is the best podcast episode
Oh
we've
my
ever done.
God. We're just burning time now.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
You don't have to continue to fill the air.
And you know what, Brian?
What?
We have another hour to do on Thursday.
Yeah, we record the whole thing, we'll transcript
You-
it, and
you know
we'll
what I
just
think we
do
should
the
do?
exact same thing at the same time next time.
At what time are we doing on Thursday?
10:30 in the morning.
10:30 in the morning. So Bill, you've said you'll be able to come.
I will be there.
Shelley, are you able to come to a 10:30
10:30 which day?
Thursday.
Thursday?
Thursday. Unclear. My phone is charging and it has my schedule.
Okay.
Which
So
is insane.
so
Maybe.
I'm wondering, what if we let them design the podcast
You
for
want-
Thursday?
You want them to do... I think that
In
sounds
be-
like you're being lazy. And I'm not sure why, because I'm the one that does
Well,
all
see,
the design work.
We put them on the spot. We basically brought them up here and asked them all these tough questions and made them answer them. So I'm giving them the opportunity to come back at us
And ask us questions?
and be mean to us. I mean, ask us honest questions. We'll talk about
Do
it.
the reverse.
I literally came up with this like right
I'm
now.
thinking
So
about some good
I'm-
questions.
I'm not putting you on the spot or anything.
We can,
Some questions.
we
We got questions.
Okay.
we talk to customers a lot, so we can probably pull some good questions out for you.
Mark, you're an idiot. This is a terrible, terrible idea. We're still gonna
We'll
do
find
it,
out.
but it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
terrible, terrible idea. Just like every
When has that ever
episode we
stopped
do.
us?
Never.
No.
We're 12 episodes in.
We're up here,
It
aren't we?
obviously has not stopped us.
This
you
was a
only
terrible
know
idea.
if you try it. You
Yeah.
only know if you
And
try
There
we,
is no
we gave
try.
you a definitive maybe, so
I
what
like
more do you
definitive
want?
maybes.
Mm.
Yes, it's kind of like an unhandled exception has occurred in your flow.
exactly. You did
I
not
actually
use
just
a fault
pictured
element.
that.
Shame on you.
Fault or fault not? There is no try.
There's no try.
Oh, I'd like that recording.
You must fault.
Oh, well,
We got
that-
it. It's
that
been
video,
recorded.
yeah,
I don't
that's
think we'll have
great.
any time to edit it other than maybe put actual intro music in. So I think
No,
we'll probably
that'd
just
be-
go out.
Yeah, probably.
Magically.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna edit this at all. We're just
No.
we're gonna trim it. We're gonna
No,
back in the music.
Because
and go.
otherwise, there's no way we're going to get anything live out there.
Nope.
All right. So we have like 4 minutes left, I think.
4 minutes.
4 minutes left. And I know we have a couple other people who joined the audience.
Well, no, I think actually we're being asked to stop
Are we being
sooner
asked
rather
to
than later.
stop?
I don't see Mike, but I know
Well, the
we
mic's
have,
in
we
front
have
of
to
you.
give the next people time.
Oh, that's true.
So what do we have? Who do we have?
I don't remember.
Well, obviously he's not here for us. He's here for the next group.
Well, I think he's here for me. He's from the user group.
Okay.
He's looking for.
I just,
looking for you.
I don't remember people. Right, Phil? I'm wearing these gigantic earphones. I can't actually hear
His
you.
name is Brian,
His name is Brian?
just like
No,
you.
no, I think you're confused. My name is Brian.
That's his point.
Yes, we know. His name is Brian. We know.
Hi, Brian.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap things up.
Well, once again, I'm Brian.
And I'm Mark.
And you can listen to us at
TheWizardNews.com.
or iTunes and Stitcher.
That's right. And there's another place, isn't there? We usually have a script for this.
Well, I figured you had it memorized by now.
No.
And if you want to receive our next episode automatically, you can
Subscribe
to
on
us
iTunes.
on iTunes
That's right.
or Stitcher.
And Stitcher. Okay. And we do post on. You're the one who says that, not me.
This is why I have to write a script, because he's useless otherwise.
I am. I'm
Where do
utterly
people
useless.
find you? Social media
We're on Twitter.
and your
So
handles.
at @markross__C.
At Quongerific, which is
And also at.
Shelly_SFDC.
At SFDC Bill is my.
And if you have any process builder or flow needs, those are the two people you want to tweet incessantly.
They are your heroes.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
especially
yeah,
like,
we're
Sunday
interested.
mornings, tell us what's not
We'll
working.
respond
Sure. It's
in an
wonderful.
appropriate amount of time.
It's
No,
No,
three-
come-
no personal lives, apparently.
What about if people want to send you email or like do anything like that? What about if I don't use Twitter? Is there another way to get a hold of you
I
guys?
think, well, we just have contact information on the SalesforceWizard.com.
Yeah, at the wizard at thewizardnews.com we have contact information.
There you go.
As well as you could email us at thewizardnews@thewizardnews.com or wizardcast@thewizardnews.com.
You have it memorized, apparently.
Well,
That's 'cause you have
I
nothing
set it
else
up
in
and
your
I
head.
type it up every single time.
You have nothing else in your head. No, you copy paste it. Don't
no,
lie.
I type it. I hand type it every single time. I put it in a
Whatever.
typewriter. And then I take the
Whatever.
typewriter and then I scan it. And then I take the scan and I put it into a Google Doc for you.
So to close, I'd just like to say that Brian is a dirty, dirty liar with his pants constantly on fire.
Yes, I am. And I need new pants.
Thank you, everybody. We'll
You've been
see
a
you on
wonderful
Thursday.
audience.